YouTuber MrBeast reportedly in talks for competition series on Amazon's Prime Video in a deal worth $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
Care to comment?
That was the headline. That was the thing. Yes, we're doing. We've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
We were doing a streaming show, and we're doing one with Prime. This is actually, we were going to do a press release, but I knew we were going to do this podcast, so I was like, let's just make this podcast a press release. So I don't know if that's the conventional way when you do shows like this, but we've. Let me think. I probably should be careful what I say too much. I've never done a streaming show like this, so I don't like with YouTube. I'm super open about everything. I don't. Well, I'm just trying to calculate how much I want to talk about the negotiations. There's let's just say Amazon will give us the most creative control, and by most I mean all creative control, and they'll let me do whatever I want. And other platforms, didn't. So there's a lot of. We'll see if we get into it later in this. I don't know if we want to dive into it all now, but yeah, there's a reason we went with Amazon. They're awesome. I love you guys. And I'm going to try to make the most huge streaming show in history.
I do want to get into negotiation at some point.
Yeah.
But first,
that's a great hook. Keep watching.
What's the name of the show?
Beast Games. Right. Okay. I think it fits it perfectly. It's going to be, wow. This will be the first time anyone hears it. It's going to be the largest game show in history with the most contestants any game show's ever had, with the largest cash prize in history. That I'll probably reveal later, but you can imagine what the cash prize was on Squid Game, and it's higher than that. So the largest game show in history, the largest cash prize in history. And to be honest, in my opinion, like the biggest sets in history, it's the biggest everything in history. This show, we have it written now, is mind-blowing. Like the problem is if I say anything about a particular episode, it could give a contestant that hears it a little bit of insight. It's like it's like our normal videos, but just 20 times better. Because obviously, I don't know if that number you read is accurate or not, but I have a bigger budget, so money's not a constraint. And what we were talking about before is on YouTube, I have to make videos around titles and thumbnails. But on this show, I can do whatever I want. I can just make good content, and I don't have to revolve it around a title and thumbnail. So money's not a constraint on the show, and I can also just do anything, which is like a lot more freeing than you would think. And so it's mind blowing. The stuff we're going to be doing. Can you give us an example there of like, it's a lot more freeing than you think? Yeah. Can you give us even like one example of like, what does it free you up to do that you wouldn't do on YouTube? Well, with the YouTube video, it's just kind of, it's people are clicking to watch a video around a title and thumbnail. And if you veer too far off, it's just kind of how it is on YouTube. They're just like, okay, I'll go watch another video or whatever. They just kind of, you just have to revolve it. Like if I just got up and I don't know, someone else, like Ryan Trahan sat down, like your attention would just kind of, plummet. Whereas the show, when you sit down for a movie, you're kind of just like there to enjoy it and get embraced. Or in a show, you're just kind of like along for the ride. And it's not, you don't expect it to just be super cut and dry. You almost like when it does take twists and turns, what I mean? Which is just a whole different vibe. And so for this, I can do anything. I literally, the constraint is I have the most contestants in history. I have the largest cash prize in history. And that's it. Outside of that, I can do anything. I actually think that the big difference there is that the end of each episode has to operate as the hook for the next episode, which is pretty different than your YouTube videos, right? Well, we're reinventing everything. I mean, we can, sometimes we'll start the next challenge halfway through an episode and how do I say what some of this stuff is without saying it? It's like, we're throwing everything out the door and just trying to really think from, first principles, what actually makes a show great. Now it'll probably be 6+ hours of content, whereas my normal videos are 20 minutes. So the character building, the storytelling will be out of this world compared to our normal videos. Like the closest video to what this would be like our ages 1 to 100, where, with the cubes and stuff, but even that will pale in comparison. I'm so excited. I wish I could just say what some of the episodes are. But it's with the streaming show, because the budgets are so big, it's like one episode, we'll just give away, you know what I mean? And that's just kind of be like a side thing, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's a little bit of spoiler, but stuff like that. I'm so excited. I actually think the 2 people trapped for 100 days. Yeah. That one for me, that was, I think, your longest video. Is it not? 27 minutes? Well, I counted to 100,000. Yeah. Sure. Most recent video. Of the recent era, that was your longest video. And actually one that I really enjoyed. Same. And the character development in that one was, I think, what kept everyone watching for a long time. And there was a little bit of question of
their relationship and like how they were getting along.
Do they
and all
hate
that.
each other?
Do they hate each other? Are they actually in love? Like there was this like a lot of interesting stuff there that tapped into the character development that I think we're used to on reality TV.
So on that one, if I would have done that video 18 months ago, instead of being, I think that was 27 minutes, it probably would have been 12. It's crazy. If I'd made content like this 4 or 5 years ago, instead of like what the people would call the beastification of YouTube or whatever, I think the videos would have done better. I just kind of grew up on YouTube and I've been making content my whole life. And so like, obviously I'm much smarter at 25 than I was at 21. And so like at 21, I just thought was good content. And now I look back and I'm like, even some of our older videos, I can't watch them. I'm like, this is too much. It gives me a headache,
Yeah.
But at the time, that's just kind of what I thought was good. And I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's just, if someone gets into making content at a young age, you kind of get to see the progression of everything they do on YouTube. And so I just find that pretty fascinating, if that makes sense.
And now people will get to see it on Amazon, which is kind of interesting and in a totally new setting. Like that's a completely different storytelling challenge.
I know. I'm so excited.
And when it comes to the show,
that show's going to crush.
When it comes to the show,
I need caffeine.
letting scenes breathe, giving people more emotion. Yeah. That's something that you guys have started to do this past year more so on YouTube.
Yep.
There are people in television that have been doing that and on streaming for like decades.
Exactly. Yep.
Are you guys going to bring people in to help with that? Or how are you guys going to look at ushering that type of storytelling in?
Yeah. Well, these episodes on the Amazon show are massive. I mean, we're already hired like 80, 90 people to help with it, and we're going to need way more. So I'm bringing a lot of people in. But no, it's going to be more in how we do our things the YouTube way. We're not going to take what we do and just completely change it all and just, adapt to how the status quo is. It's going to be kind of a hybrid because obviously there are things that, game shows do well, but there are other things they don't. Like one thing I don't really like is like when there's a lot of action happening and they just cut to someone in a takeaway room, clearly filmed after and talking about it. Like preferably, which we haven't filmed it yet, but ideally, we'd be able to get those kind of emotions and thoughts in the midst of the challenge, right? Which takes a lot of forethought and a lot of skill because, these aren't scripted. And so like, if you miss the shot, well, then you have to go back and get it. So it's like one take, either you get it or you don't. And that's just like one of 100 examples of ways I want to innovate and adapt because like, I know why they don't do it because it's very hard, right? If it's not scripted, how do you get these lines you want from people while they're doing this intense challenge? So and then their heads, you can't. So then they just, after the show, they go, hey, say these things to a camera. And so cut from a challenge to them in a takeaway room. And like, I might end up having that, but ideally I don't. So that's like one of the things we're really prepping for. And so like really knowing the pace of all the challenges and things we're going to do and know where people will be most likely to say things and then making sure you have a good camera shot there and like you're ready to capture it. Because I can't go, hey, say this and then put a camera on them because it's not scripted. You know what I mean? So just like really thinking through things at like a level that I don't think anyone has ever thought about before. And that's just like one example of it. And then just doing that like to 1,000 different ways, I think will add up where it will feel nothing like a normal game show, but it will have the Beast feel and just look more, high budget, if that makes sense.
I also think you have another tool, which is yourself. Like you are a character in the game show. So the reason why a lot of times I do that is to contextualize the emotion or contextualize whatever is happening, but you can do that, right? Yeah. I'm saying like with your voiceover or with even you as the host, like if you miss some context, oftentimes you go over and do voiceover to explain what's going on in the scene.
Yeah, well,
right?
Ideally they're like paired together. It's like while it's happening, I'm talking to them. Because like, I would prefer to, while they're in the heat of the moment and feeling the emotion, I talk with them then and we get it like live as opposed to afterwards, but agreed. I mean, the big thing is the sets are just going to be things you've never seen before. I mean, it's actually crazy, the kind of stuff we're building. Oh my gosh. It's essentially like, because it'll be 10 or more episodes. I don't know like if we fully finalized the episode count yet, but like each one of these episodes will be bigger than the biggest YouTube video I've ever made. Right. So these are like we're talking monsters upon monsters of projects. Like picture our Squid Game, but like that's just a normal episode in this series. Like that's a bad episode. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's how far we're going with this, it's going to be pretty mind blowing.
So it's like physical challenges, mental challenges. And when can we expect roughly to watch it?
It should be later this year, but obviously I'm not going to put out something that I don't like. So fingers crossed. It's over 6 hours of content. So the editing, might end up taking an extra month or two, but it should, if everything goes to plan, be the, like November, December, back half of this year.